Hey there, welcome to day 190 of our Get Your Goals annual challenge. We're doing one thing every day to get what we want in our lives, right? We're dividing it up into the 9-part life framework that I personally use. We spent the first month of this year looking at different goal frameworks, different ways of getting, achieving, dealing with, thinking, writing, creating goals that would work for us. And we created our own process, which we talk about at the end of each month, based on the area or aspect of the life framework that we're talking about. Physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, financial, relationships we're doing this month. We've talked about all these 5 previous, and I don't know what we're going to do next month. I'll look at my calendar and decide what seems best for next month. July I like as a relationship month because it's a month that I personally am involved very deeply with my family and friends, because we have the 4th of July, which is a huge Independence Day and freedom celebration in America, and we do a lot of family things this month, and so it reminds me of relationships and the importance of relationships. And no more topic is as important, or there probably are some, but this one's a biggie, is the role of effective communication in your relationships and in my relationships. Now, I say effective communication because guess what? We all communicate all the time. Whether it's effective or not is another story. So what are some aspects of effective communication that we want to consider? And then all we're going to do today for our action item is think about and notice our communication in a couple of these different areas and ask yourself, well, was that effective? How was that effective? How did that work out for me? And just pay attention to ways that you could increase the effectiveness, meaning you get the result that you want out of the communication, right? Now, I'm not saying it's either positive or negative. It's you getting the result you want is effective. That's how I define effective communication. So what are some roles of effective communication, and what are some things that we want to consider when we're deciding if our communication is effective or not in our relationships, right? We can talk to ourselves, and that's a whole nother story, but with other people, how good are we at getting our message across based on the intent that we have with that message? The power of clear and direct communication should not be overrated or underrated, right? It is so important, because what I mean by a certain term or word is probably different than your definition of that word. Think of any word, even colors, right? Everybody kind of sees and has different ways of describing colors. Here are 3 different pink pens, right? Pink or red. I guess that won't be considered red by some people. Let's go with 4. My point is, every single person you ask will maybe describe these as a different color. And if I say hot pink, this might be the color that comes to mind, but it might not, right? It might be this pink is hot pink to you. So we have to make sure that we're clearly understanding, asking questions, and verifying that what we mean by something is the same thing the other person we're communicating with means. Nonverbal communication, so important. I will watch this today because I've noticed that in my family and me, I do a lot of nonverbal things and a lot of nonverbal cues that I'm not consciously aware of. If something upsets me, even though I try to be stoic and cover it in my face, my kids for sure, and people that are close to me, know exactly how I'm feeling about absolutely everything, because it shows on my face and in my actions and in my expressions and in my body posture, etc. So pay attention to not only other people's nonverbals to see what they're communicating to you, but your own as well. If I'm sitting here with my arms crossed and my grim look on my face, I'm probably not paying much attention. I'm probably not even thinking about what I'm talking about with the person. I'm probably thinking about somebody who cut me off in traffic, or some other problem, or some bad customer service experience, but something that has nothing to do with the person that I'm interacting with. So make sure that you're present in the conversations and the communications that you're involved in if you want to improve your relationships. Active listening for deeper understanding, critical, right? We have to actually be listening, not to hear the message and the intent that the person is communicating to us, not just to respond. My family and I, we have a terrible bad habit of finishing one another's sentences and interrupting, and it's really, really disrespectful and rude. And so it's a continuous improvement area for me personally. Role of empathy in communication. Try to put yourself in the other person's shoes. We don't have to sympathize with them. We don't have to feel their pain, but we can understand where they're coming from in the message that they're communicating. Nurturing relationships via communication. Again, not to be overrated, right? We want to be open and receptive and open-minded and clear in our communication. One of the things that we don't do is we often fuzzy up our communication by adding a bunch of adjectives and adverbs and descriptive terms, or telling stories that go in circles, or other things that might not work with the person that we're communicating with. So it's important to understand that our communication style isn't necessarily the same as, it probably isn't the same as a lot of the people we interact with. And if we want to have a strong relationship with them, we need to consider the receiver of our messages, right, and of our communications. So what are we doing today? We are just thinking about, and these are just a couple of key things you can see in Guide 17 of the Get Up and Go private Facebook group. There's a write-up of this, just like there has been for all of the other ones since February 1st on. Some detail about just these topics and a few more. And all we're doing today is thinking of the role of effective communication, active communication, oh my goodness, effective communication on our relationships. Maybe you think it doesn't have a role in your relationships. Share your thoughts on that in the comments below. But otherwise, pay attention to, I'm definitely going to pay attention to my intent, my specific, clear nature of communication, what things mean to me versus what they might mean to the other person, and my nonverbals. I'm going to just kind of be aware of them today. All right, if I can help you in any way, ask. Otherwise, have an awesome day, have fun with this, and I will be with you tomorrow.